When we talk about software development, there are many transitions and updates happening now and then, which always results in evolving of many programming languages. C, C++, and Java are one example of such evolution, which made a great impact in the software industry and considered as the backbone of all programming languages. Taking this into consideration, we at Great Learning decided to come up with this video on stating what are the differences between C, C++, and Java. So let's get started with the video and understand the differences between these three languages. Before we get started, I want to introduce you to Great Learning Academy, a free initiative by Great Learning. You can access over 200 plus courses with 1000 plus hours of free content on trending high demand domains absolutely free. Register now to complete the course and get your free certificate of completion. Check out the link in the description of the video below. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on any new updates or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoy this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video, any queries or suggestions, and I will respond to your comments. Before starting with the conceptual differences between these three, let's understand it first in layman terms. C, C++, and Java are having the same differences as it is between you, your father, and your grandfather. Let's compare grandfather with C, father with C++, and Java being you. As the oldest one is your grandfather, who is still alive and trying to save himself according to the present world, but still the most valuable with knowledge and experience of 3 generations. He is the most respected one and known as the head of the family. The same goes with C. C is the oldest one but still alive. Many developers are still using C programming language to develop some applications. Let it be a standalone application or a desktop application. C programming language is shaping itself according to the present world, and still in 2020 it is the most valuable and it is having an experience of 3 generations, which is low level, assembly and high level language. C is the most trusted one and it is also called as the mother of all languages. Let's go to the next one. Your father being younger than your grandfather but still son of your grandfather, so must have inherited many qualities from him and also must be having his own new updated features. He must be having a well-defined small friend circle and anybody in the family thinks twice before talking to him. Likewise, C++ is also younger than C, and C++ is developed nothing but by a C language, so it is the son of the C programming language. That means it must have inherited many qualities from C language, but it is having its own new updated feature also, which is OOPS concept. So C++ is having object-oriented programming concept, which is his new feature. C++ is having its well-defined small friend circle. That means it works with all different kinds of languages too, such as database languages and front-end languages. And others in the family of programming languages are afraid of C++ programming language because C++ programming language is better than the other programming languages. Let's go ahead and let's see what we have to say about you. The most youngest in the family, facing a lot of challenges in life, be it in school, college or company, but somehow you are breaking boundaries to be always in top. You are updating yourself rapidly to face all the difficulties and you talk to everybody around. Many of your friends are learning from you to become like you. And some other students who are jealous of you are using your ideas to achieve success, which is in a way making you famous. So talking about Java, Java is the most youngest one in comparison to C and C++. And yes, Java has faced a lot of difficulties and challenges in life. But somehow Java has braved all its boundaries and have come up at the top. Java is updating itself rapidly to face all the difficulties, whatever it is facing. And the other programming languages are learning from Java and trying to become like Java programming language. Such programming languages are .NET Framework, PHP, and many more. Now there are some jealous languages, which is nothing but Spring, which is using the ideas of Java. That means it is using the features, concepts, and libraries of Java to achieve success. But in turn, in a way, it is actually benefiting Java programming language itself. So that was the difference between C, C++, and Java in layman terms. But in spite of all these qualities of Java, always remember that your father and grandfather are genius and have more knowledge than you. That means if you are Java, then your father and grandfather, that means C and C++, are genius and is having more knowledge than Java programming language. That's why in current era, in the year 2021 also, people and developers are still using C and C++ programming language to develop some of the applications. Now let's move ahead with the conceptual differences and let's see what is the conceptual differences between C, C++, and Java programming language. Going ahead, let's see the first conceptual difference between these three languages, which is nothing but the programming paradigm. So which programming paradigm is used in these three languages? Let's look upon that. So for C programming language, we use the procedural programming language concept. In C++, it is an object-oriented programming language. When it comes to Java, Java is a cross-platform pure object-oriented programming language. Now what is the meaning of all these three things? C is a procedural programming language. That means it follows step-by-step procedure execution. But when it comes to C++, it follows OOPS concept, which nothing but follows 5 major concepts of OOPS. When it comes to Java, Java also follows OOPS concepts and plus it also follows multi-threading concept with a cross-platform technique. That means we can use Java and write and run Java code anywhere in any platform. Let's move to the second difference and let's see what is it talking about. So the second difference is the developer. Now who is the developer for C language, C++, and Java? Let's look at that. C programming language is developed by Dennis Ritchie in 1972. Similarly, C++ language is developed by Bjarne Stroustrup in 1979 and Java is developed by James Gosling in 1991. These are the names of the developers who have developed these programming languages. Let's go ahead and see the next difference, which is nothing but the origin. So from where these languages is originated from? C programming language is based on assembly language, whereas C++ programming language is based on C language, and Java programming language is based on C and C++. Is the same difference which we have seen in the layman terms difference, where we said that C programming language is nothing but your grandfather, C++ is your father, and Java is nothing but you. And that's the same difference which is written here. Let's go ahead and look at the next difference, which is nothing but the platform dependency. Platform dependency means which language is dependent on specific platforms. So if we talk about C language is a platform dependent programming language. That means it totally depends on which platform or which operating system are you using while working with C programming language. While coming to C++, C++ is also platform dependent programming language. But when it comes to Java, Java is a platform independent programming language. That means you can write the Java program anywhere and you can run it also anywhere. Let's go to the next difference, which is the approach. Now, which programming language follows what kind of approach? That's what we are going to talk about in this particular topic. So C follows top-down approach. That means we write the main method first and then we write the rest of the program. So the step-by-step execution happens from line by line, from starting to end. But when it comes to C++, it follows bottom-up approach. That means main method can be written anywhere, wherever you want. The same happens to Java. Java also follows bottom-up approach. Now let's go ahead and see the next difference, which is nothing but the translator. So C has only one compiler. That means compiler actually converts your code into machine language. That means a byte code. So all your codes, whatever you have written, is getting converted into machine specific language, so that the machine can understand your code and can process it. For that, C programming language is having only one compiler. C++ is also having only one compiler, whereas Java has the combination of both a compiler and an interpreter. This is one of the advantages of Java programming language. Now let's move ahead and let's see the next difference, which is file extensions. So if you're writing a programming file for C or C++ or Java, now how do you have to save it? With what file extension? So for C, it follows .c file extensions, and the C++ follows .cpp file extensions, and similarly Java follows .java file extension. This is very important to remember for all the freshers and beginners, because you'll be trying to write a code in this specific language and you must have to save the file. So you should know that what is the correct file extensions for these particular languages. Again, let's go ahead and see the next topic, which is nothing but the keywords. So how many keywords are used in all these programming languages? Let's show you the count of it. C supports 32 keywords, whereas C++ supports 63 keywords and Java supports 50 keywords. Keywords are nothing but the predefined terms which we use in our programming language to make it more easy and simplify it. So C programming language is having 32 keywords. That means we can use these keywords to write a program very easily. Same goes to C++ and Java. Let's go ahead with the next topic, which is data types. So which language is using structure and union as a data type and which language is not? C supports structures and unions. C++ also supports structures and unions. But if you go ahead with Java, Java does not support structures and unions, because James Gosling wanted to make Java very simple and easy. So there are 8 data types which is there in Java, namely int, char, string, float, long, double, boolean. Let's go ahead and see which language follows inheritance and which language doesn't follow inheritance in these 3 programming languages. C does not support inheritance. C++ does support inheritance. But when it comes to Java, Java does support inheritance except multiple inheritance. Now, that doesn't mean that Java does not support multiple inheritance. It's a fact that you can use interface to work with multiple inheritance in Java. So which is resulting in Java supports inheritance. Now let's go ahead and see what is the next topic, which is pointers. Obviously, C language supports pointers. Pointers are nothing but which saves the value within help of address of that particular memory. So we play with the value, we play with the address of that particular memory. When it comes to C++, C++ language also supports pointers. But Java removed the concept of pointers from itself. What about the overloading concept? Now when you talk about the overloading, only one OOPS concept comes into our mind, which is the polymorphism. Now because C does not follow OOPS concept, so C language does not support overloading. But when it comes to C++, it does support function overloading and polymorphism, because C++ is having OOPS concept. When it comes to Java, Java does support overloading, which is nothing but the polymorphism, but it does not accept operator overloading. Let's go to the next one, which is the exception handling. Now, exception handling is one of the concepts which is nothing but the unwanted risk or unwanted situation which happens, how you can handle that in these programming languages. So C does not support exception handling, and that is one of the drawback of C language. C++ does support exception handling, and mostly exception handling is used in Java concept. So Java also does support exception handling. Now let's talk about the memory allocation. Now which method or which function do we use to allocate the memory in these programming languages? So C language uses malloc and calloc, which is nothing but a predefined method to allocate the memory in C language. C++ uses the new keyword and the delete keyword to save the memory in the C++ programming language. Java uses garbage collector to do the same. Let's talk about the constructors and destructors in a programming language. C does not have either constructor or destructor because this concept was not even created or initiated while they were working with C programming language. But when it comes to C++, it has both constructor and destructors. Now if you don't know what is constructor, it's nothing but giving you an initial value for all your variables. It's nothing but an ignition. Now when it comes to Java, Java has constructors, but there is no need of destructors in Java. Destructors are nothing but the opposite of constructors. Let's go ahead and see which language can achieve the connectivity with the database. C does not support database connectivity, but when it comes to C++, it also does not support database connectivity. Java does support connectivity by the help of JDBC, which is Java Database Connectivity. So using JDBC or ODBC drivers, you can actually connect Java with the database. Let's move ahead and let's see what happens with the data security. Which language is giving more security to our data? C does not support encapsulation, so there is low data security. Encapsulation is one of the OOPS concept, which is nothing but helps in data security. When it comes to C++, it does support encapsulation, and that is why it is having a high data security. Same goes to Java as well. Java does support encapsulation, thus high data security. Now let's talk about the multi-threading concept. That means if you have given a process in a programming language, then that process will be divided into several threads. And that is what is called as multi-threading or multitasking. C does not support this. C++ does not support multi-threading, but when it comes to Java, Java does support multi-threading techniques. This is also one of the pure advantage of Java programming language. Let's talk about the preprocessor directives. When it comes to preprocessor directives, C supports header files, which is hash include, hash define, etc. etc. Same goes for C++. C++ also supports preprocessor directives like hash include. And when it comes to Java, Java actually does not support preprocessor directive, but it supports something like that, which is also called as packages or import commands to access all their libraries and packages. Now we have seen all the conceptual differences between these three languages. So let's move ahead and discuss why do we use C, C++ and Java programming language. Talking about this particular question tells about the primary features of all these programming languages. So let's answer why. When we talk about C programming language, it is the most structured language out of all the programming languages being in the market. It is having the feature of portability, and it is also having a rich library. That means a large amount of libraries are provided by C, which we can use to write a program. And also it follows a dynamic memory allocation, which is nothing but the malloc and calloc method, which we have already discussed in the previous conceptual differences of memory allocation. So these are some of the features which makes people use C programming language. Now let's go ahead and talk about C++ and see what is the differences or what is the features that we can get to know about C++. It is powerful and fast. It is flexible. The speed is really very good in C++ programming language, and it helps in compilation. So these are some of the features of C++ programming language because of which developers love to use C++ programming language. Last but not the least, we have the most famous one, which is the Java programming language. Let's see what is the property and feature of this particular language. As you have already seen in the conceptual difference of data security, it is having an encapsulation concept, which means shortage of security risks are there. That means the data of yours is secure when you are using Java programming language. Java programming language is platform dependence. That means it doesn't matter in which platform or in which operating system are you writing the program of Java. It will work in Linux also, Windows also, and any other operating system. It follows the concept of multi-threading, which is one of the greatest advantage of Java programming language, and Java programming language is having the feature of stability. Let's move to the next question, which is where do we use C, C++, and Java? Because most of the freshers and beginners must wanted to know that where actually do we use C programming language, which applications do we create using these three languages. Well, when you talk about this question, which is where, let's see where do we use C programming language. We use C programming language in making database softwares like MySQL. When you talk about MySQL, MySQL is properly developed by a C programming language. C programming language is also used to develop gaming and animation applications. For example, Adobe. Also, it is used to create the compilers. Most of the compilers which is used in many programming languages are designed using C programming language. And last but not the least, it is also used to create graphical user interface based applications. Let's talk about C++. Where do we use it? C++ is also used in creating compilers, animation softwares. One best thing about C++ is that it is used to create operating systems. That means you can use C++ programming language to build and develop operating systems like Windows, Linux or Unix. Also, one very cool feature about C++ is that you can create web browsers like Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Opera Mini, Safari using C++ programming language. Let's quickly go ahead and see why do we use or where do we use Java programming language, because this is the moment which I think most of the beginners and freshers must be waiting for. Java programming language is mostly used in mobile applications, desktop applications, enterprise applications and gaming applications. So mainly Java programming language is used to create and develop some kind of applications which will work in mobile, which will work in desktop. Enterprise means all the banking applications and the gaming applications also. So that was all about the differences between C, C++ and Java programming languages. We have seen the differences in layman terms, and also we have seen the conceptual differences, and then we discussed about why do we need to use these programming languages and where can we use these programming languages to develop what kind of applications. I hope you liked this video. I'll meet very soon. Thank you so much.
I want to introduce you to Great Learning Academy, a free initiative by Great Learning. You can access over 200 plus courses with 1000 plus hours of free content on trending high demand domains absolutely free. Register now to complete the course and get your free certificate of completion. Check out the link in the description of the video below. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on any new updates or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoyed this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on the video, any queries or suggestions, and I will respond to your comments.